Hi, my name's Tom Cabral. Welcome to another episode of Healthful Living. Before we get started, I'd like to just take a moment and I really want to appreciate what Ntr TV is doing. You know, they're the bridge between two countries, right? Turkey and Africa. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Since I've been involved with them in a short period of time, I really learned a lot, or I'm starting to learn a lot about, your culture. I knew very little about Africa. And what I've seen so far, I mean, the people I've met are just beautiful souls. And it just seems like an amazing country. So much so, it inspired a dream that someday I'm going to go visit that place. You know what I'm saying? But seemingly we have, right, there's such a diversity of cultures and languages in both parts of the world. And so there's such a vast diversity of culture and languages that seemingly separate us. But the truth is, there's actually two things that actually unite us, and that is emotion and our ability to empathize. So I've always thought that emotions are actually the universal language of the world. And so it only makes sense that, well, today we're going to talk about depression. And because it's a very emotional topic, and there's a range of emotions that are involved in depression. And so I have a very special guest today and co-host, Dr. Ntr Cabral. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
So, what is depression really?
Depression is very debilitating state of mind caused by lack of purpose in life, lack of motivation to do things, and exhaustion. It's a very hard place to be, and according to statistics done in UK in 1996, 1 in 10 men and 1 in 4 women in the world experiencing depression one time in their life.
So women more than men because they're more in tune with their emotions, isn't that correct?
It's true, they are more analyzing what they feel, why they feel that way.
So they have analytical minds.
They do.
Okay.
And is trauma, trauma causing every aspects of different psychological problems, and trauma, as we talked before, like we can say it acute and chronic trauma or acute and chronic stress. So in both, in our brain chemistry, in acute stress we pass certain chemical threshold. In chronic stress we do it in slowly but surely if we don't know how to manage our stress. So what happens in depression is, we live an traumatic event, like maybe we lost our job, lost one loved ones, lost our hope for some reason, some sort of acute loss, or depression caused by chronic stress, like everyday life stresses, working with deadlines, traffics, environmental factors, family members, responsibilities. So what happens is, in our brain, acutely or in a time, our brain chemistry changes. When our brain chemistry changes in depression, then what happens is, what we see, what we view life, our perception about life and ourselves changes. And it causes further changes in brain chemistry. So patients started to feel different and started to not functioning during the day, daily functions.
And so, why does it happen?
Actually, depression is one of the protecting mechanisms of the brain. When brain overloads with acute or chronic trauma, enough is enough in acute trauma. When brain is overloaded, brain shut down certain functions, certain, according to brain, non-essential things. So what brain does is use all the energy to repair or or produce certain chemicals to recover from that state. So what brain does is brain shut down certain, according to brain, non-essential tasks, like a person doesn't want to wake up in the morning. We're going to talk about it later. They usually wake up very exhausted, tired, no motivation whatsoever, and they don't want to comb their hair, they don't want to bath, they don't want to see anyone, they don't want to call, they don't want to answer the calls, they don't want to eat. Sometimes they eat a lot. So there are eye-catching symptoms, and they are very debilitating because it's very hard to function, it's very hard to operate out in the world with these problems.
So is it genetic? Could it be genetic?
According to late studies, like in 1994 and in 1998. So in 1994, again in UK, there is a study. In 1998, the depression percentage was 4.2. And they did the same study in 1998, and the depression was 9.2. So almost double the first time in 4 years' time.
That's a very short period of time.
Very short period of time, because if it is genetic, it takes generation. It takes at least 15 years or 20 or more to get to that level. So this study says us, no, it's not genetic. That's one thing. And second thing is, we know about genetic mapping, and they couldn't find any depression gene. So that's a very good news for everybody. How is this happening? It's happening with modeling of solving the problems, because in our life, of course, we have problems. We solve one problem and we face with another one. This is life. And in the environment you were brought up, if a person problem solving is like stuck in the problem, being there for a long time. Why did it happen? How did it happen? It shouldn't happen to me. Instead of seeing the problem, moving the solution, then children in that environment will model this type of view of life, view of problem. So they get lost in problem.
So it's actually, in part, learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior. It's a very good news, because if we learn it, we can learn other things. If we learn how to get depressed, we can learn how to get out of depression.
So how does life today contribute to depression? Because we're in a fast-paced, moving world that just seems to be getting faster and faster. So what kind of things are contributing to, in our lifestyles in the world today, to depression?
It starts from inner world, our inner environment, and of course there is outer environment, and outer environment is our close family, work, friends, we can say it like this. Depression, this machine is electromagnetic chemical machine, and this machine works on certain rules, certain laws, physical laws. For instance, our brain, every 90 minutes, it wants to take 20 minutes break. Every 90 minutes we are awake, 20 minutes break to process the data in that 90 minutes and repairing also. But who has that luxury in big cities? We don't have a 20 minutes break every 90 minutes. We don't do that, for instance. And everything is fast in our life. Fast food, traffic is fast, communication is fast, everything is fast. And our brain sometimes having difficulty to catch. And because our brain overloads, then it gets stress, And stress hormone involves in depression too. So we are not motivated, but we are anxious. So it's a very hard to operate in this mindset.
So it's true then. Every 90 minutes, the mind or the mind switches from the left hemisphere to the right hemisphere, which is the creative mind, and so periodically it's trying to discharge that negative energy, make sense of our world, and because we have jobs and things we need to do, we don't allow that to happen. So we work through it, and so that energy and that processing doesn't get completed, and so what happens is it builds up, and then we go to sleep. Our mind is busy, and then there's something that happens during the sleep cycle that really contributes to depression, right? Would you talk about that a little bit?
Of course, I want to say one thing first. It's like mind and body aligning. When mind and body aligns, then we are healthy individuals. When our mind faster than our body, thinking about 5 years later, 5 minutes later, sometimes our body cannot catch our minds. It causes a lot of stress in the body because body wants to catch that speed, but body has certain laws and things it has to do. So what happens in our lives is, we run, very hectic lives, and we get home, and what happens, our mind is here and we doesn't work our body, When our mind is very busy working, exercising day in, day out, our body is here because we are not doing enough exercises. So what happens is, after every day, after every work day, we go to bed and we sleep. And sleep is very important, enough sleep and quality sleep. It's not just amount of time of sleep, also quality of sleep is very important. And sleep has 4 cycles. And 4th cycle called rapid eye movement cycle. Rapid eye movement cycle is a deep sleep state. And in that rapid eye movement state, brain and body, especially brain, works really over time. What it does is it like catalogs the trauma, the stress we experienced that day, and try to get rid of from the system through dreams.
Oh, we talked about that on the last show when we talked about trauma and what happens in the sleep cycle. It's trying to make sense of what happened, trying to understand it, and try to get rid of that excess emotion. So what happens when it can't do that? Because with depressed clients, it's happening all the time, so the body can't keep up.
That's true. So what happens is that REM state, because brain is working really hard, working overtime, using a lot of serotonin to do this process, to this cataloging, to get rid of stress from the brain, secrete certain chemicals. So if you have this much anxiety, fourth cycle of the sleep, we use this much serotonin. And we have certain level of serotonin in our brain, of course. But when we have this much stress, then we use this much serotonin. So after a while, what happens in chronic anxiety is our serotonin level in our brain is not enough. And because brain working really hard in 4th cycle, and as 4th cycle get longer and longer and longer, we are really tired. When we are sleeping, we are getting tired. And in the morning when we get up, we are exhausted because as the 4th cycle of the sleep gets longer, our exhaustion, tiredness gets worse.
So actually,
and also we get serotonin depleted. So current belief was people tend to go into depression because of their serotonin level, because they don't have enough serotonin in their brain, but it's not the cause. It's the result. It's the result of anxiety. In anxiety, anxious brain use a lot of serotonin, and of course we end up lacking serotonin.
So, they used to think that it was a chemical imbalance, but what you're saying, it's actually the symptom.
That's the result of anxiety, anxious brain. Anxious brain use also serotonin to sort things out. So when brain works a lot, then it uses a lot of energy, because brain uses 25% of the energy we take in during the day. And if brain overworks, then can you imagine you sleeping, but actually you overworking?
So you could be sleeping 16 hours a day and you actually, still wake up exhausted.
Exhausted.
And then you wake up exhausted and you have no energy to do anything. You can't motivate yourself to do anything. So what are the signs and symptoms of depression, or how do you diagnose it? Like, what factors or criteria, are you looking for?
It's very simple. If people feel down, or in a bad mood more than 3 weeks. If they have symptoms of depression more than 3 weeks, we say, yes, this is depression and we need to treat that. Sometimes people get confused, like daily bad mood and depression. Sometimes, of course, they feel not very excited to do things and get through life, and they say, I'm depressed today. It's not like depression. For diagnosis of depression, we need to get the symptoms at least 21 days, at least 3 weeks. More than 3 weeks, yes, we say this is depression.
So what? How do you treat it? What therapies are effective in treating?
So, as we said, anxiety, over-anxiety, causing serotonin depletion brain. Serotonin depletion brain, of course, stop certain functions to make brain as close as normal as a chemically. So people may have oversleep, 16 hours sleep, and still tired. They may eat a lot or decrease appetite. Their attention span is very low. Because in depression, let's say this is our attention, normally our attention in outside world during the day. In depression, our attention turns inside. So we are not interested in outside world. We are not interested in talking to a friend for 15 minutes, watching TV, reading books, seeing someone, or very excited about making a new dish. No, we just want to stay alone, and we want to do nothing because our brain says, you stop. I need to do things now.
So isn't it in part, somewhat situational? In other words, you're in a situation that you're very unhappy with, and you feel very vulnerable, and as you are introspecting, as you are ruminating about it, thinking about it, worrying about it, you feel helpless, you feel powerless, you feel like you have no control, and which, so you're dwelling on the problem, which causes even more stress, right? And it becomes a chronic vicious cycle, correct?
Yes. So therapy is, we need to allow body catches the mind. Right. We need to align body and mind. What we can do is we need to do exercises for mind, and we need to exercise our body. How do we exercise our mind? Of course, we can go out, sit in the nature, or we can read books, or TV series we can watch, talk to a friend. You know, we do activities involve our mind. And we also need to do regular exercise, so our body catches our mind. And also, a very important part of treating depression is giving information to patients and giving information to patients' family or close circle, so they know what's happening. That's the 50% of the treatment, and they know how to treat that person. You know, if that person is you know, spending some time with them and then spending some time with themselves, or that person if cannot do daily activities, we can help them, you know, wearing clothes during, you know, making their hairs, and you know, try to get them to work, and maybe workplace decrease their workload. So it's like a teamwork treating depression, but this teamwork can be done only by enough information. And there are, of course, antidepressants comes into play. There are places for antidepressant, because we didn't talk about the depth of the depression. For easy understanding, we can say mild, moderate, and heavy depression or major depression. All we talk here about mild and moderate depression. Mild and moderate depression can be treated by, you know, mind exercises, certain diets, regular physical exercise, hobby, you know, involving our brain activity, left and right brain. But in major depression, it's a different story, which is not in the scope of this program. Major depression patients usually talk about intention of suicide or plan of suicide. Then these patients need to be supervised. Right. Under supervision, and that's the line. We usually use antidepressants under two conditions. One, if patient doesn't have supportive environment, like nobody can help that person at home or workplace, then till therapy catches up, we can use antidepressive medications. And in major depression, we start antidepressant in the very beginning, and patient needs to be supervised. So what antidepressant does is antidepressive medication stops the breaking down of the serotonin. So this way it supports the brain chemistry. Or another way, antidepressants makes REM state of the sleep shorter, so we use less serotonin. So it works in two ways. You know, we use less serotonin, and antidepressants stop serotonin breakdown. So we have serotonin in our brain. We feel good. We can get out of depression in a very short time. 3 months. So that means antidepressants shouldn't be used more than 3 to 6 months time. It's only, we can use antidepressants as a, you know, when you have broken leg.
Oh, to help heal.
Yeah, as a crutch. And after a while, you don't need it because your leg gets better. So we use antidepressants only treatment catches, or we teach patient, part of the treatment is this, and big part of the treatment is this, we teach patients or remind patient that you see the problem, which is very important, you have to see the problem in your life, but let's focus on the solution. When patient learn this, of course I'm going to have problem in my life, everybody has, but I see the problem, and then as soon as I see the problem, I focus on solution, because there's always solution to any problem.
So we actually have to teach them new skills, new ways of thinking, like for example, going into, I mean, assess the problem, but then like start working towards solution, you know? You also have to train them to break that inner thought, that inner self-talk, correct? You have to, get them to see the perspective differently, more than one way, because we tend to be like black and white when we're in this state of thinking with depression. So it's either good or bad. There's nothing in between. So, like another thing, like we tend to like really blow it out of proportion, right? And think one way. And there's a technique that that you teach in one of your hypnosis CDs on depression, where you actually have them think the worst case scenario, right? The best case scenario and the most likely scenario, right? And so when you do that, all of a sudden you get three different perspectives. So it doesn't seem like the end of the world, because like today's worry also becomes tomorrow's depression, right? So if you're worrying about something, oh, this is going to happen and it's going to be that and this and that, and you get them to think like that, you guide them into that, and then eventually they learn it and it becomes a habit, it automatically puts you in a different place, because now you have three different perspectives.
That's true. And also I need to add that depression also can be seen in children and in elderlies, and in both cases we need to work with specialized person, because using antidepressants in children and in elderly is out. We cannot do that. It's not good for their brain, because children's brain is still developing, and elderly's brain is already damaged this way or that way, maybe psychological problems, physical problems. So we cannot use these cases antidepressants.
But the other skill sets that you learn and helping them see it differently, having other possibilities, because really it's, they feel so helpless and hopeless, and when you empower them, right, and you teach them things that they can do, the situation sometimes is, you can't change. But how we respond to that situation, how we think about that situation, right, can change. And that's really a key point right there. So what about what other like type lifestyle things that we can do in the treatment of depression?
First of all, we need to know that yes, I'm in depression, or yes, my close friend, my family member is in depression, and then it's a very good idea to see some person who knows about depression, and we get information as much as we can for the depressed person and how we can help that person. That's the first thing. And after that, making that person's life a little bit easier at home, at work, so their brain can have some break. And also eating the right food, like staying away from carbs, absolutely, and decrease the meat intake, especially red meat intake, as much as we can. So mainly vegetables and roots, and the food that's supporting our body, and hobbies, physical exercises, mental exercises, and we need to give ourselves time, because we didn't dip into depression in one day. So our recovery is not going to be in one day, but if we take proper measures, every day is going to be better day than first day of depression.
So when you say carbs, right, you're mostly talking about processed sugar.
Yes.
Because the brain, right, is trying to get that quick energy. You're depleted, you're tired, you're exhausted. So you're going to actually crave things like sugar, right? Because that's the fastest way the mind and the body could get energy it needs. Because being in depression is very, it just sucks your energy. Totally.
That's true.
And so
That's
you're
true.
talking mostly about staying away from eating healthier carbs,
Yes.
right? And staying more away from the refined sugar.
And trying to be out and about at least 1 or 2 hours a day, and as they get better we can increase it, because we want to change the place of attention during the day from here to outside, to function, to operate in the world.
And also, if we could just take a mental break every 90 minutes, You know,
If possible, yes, that would be great.
they do it in the school system, right? Every 45 minutes, they have a 15 minutes break. You know what I mean? Or a 10-minute break, and they do that for a reason because it helps. You give the body time to assimilate the information.
That's right.
Well, this is a very big topic, actually, and there's really so much more to it. And as we talk about these different things, this topic will come up again because, as you might be getting an idea now that with panic attacks, trauma, depression, they're all actually interrelated. And so it's more of a complex thing, but with simple solutions when you think about it, when you break it down. Solutions for panic attacks, solutions for trauma, solutions for depression. Well, I hope you found this very helpful. Looking forward to our next show together. Thank you, Ophelia, for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you very much, Tom. And I know you're very much fond of self-help techniques. And I have a very good news for audience. Of course, we're going to talk a lot about self-help techniques. And bye for now. See you next time.
You take care now. Actually, next show, we're going to talk about our first technique, which is emotional freedom technique. And we're going to show you how to apply it in these different situations. Looking forward to that. You take care now. Bye-bye.